Look at this rock. It's not a special rock. It's just a hunk of granite or maybe some limestone you found on a hiking trail. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't move. If you kicked it, it wouldn't say ouch. It wouldn't even notice you were there. Or would it? For most of human history, especially in the modern age, we've been taught a very specific story about the universe. We're told the universe is a giant, cold, indifferent machine made of dead stuff. Rocks are dead. Water is dead. The vacuum of space is a hollow, empty nothingness. In this story, consciousness is like a secret VIP club. It's a rare, accidental spark that only happens in very special pieces of meat called brains. We believe that we're the only ones awake in a room full of mannequins. But what if we've been looking at the world completely upside down? What if that rock isn't just a collection of minerals, but a silent, dreaming witness? What if consciousness isn't something the brain creates, but something the universe is actually made of? Welcome to Panpsychism, the theory that the rock is dreaming, the wind is humming, and you are just a very loud part of a very quiet conversation. To understand why some of the world's smartest people are starting to believe that rocks might be conscious, we first have to talk about the biggest embarrassment in modern science. It's called the hard problem of consciousness. Right now, we're very good at explaining how the brain works. We can map the neurons. We can see which parts of your brain light up when you're hungry or when you're falling in love. We can explain the mechanics of how light hits your eye and turns into electrical signals. But there's a massive, gaping hole in our logic. We have absolutely no idea how meat produces feeling. Why does a certain wavelength of light actually feel like the color red? Why does a specific vibration in the air feel like a sad song? If you take a computer apart, you find circuits. If you take a brain apart, you find cells. Nowhere in the physical stuff do you find the experience. It's like trying to find the plot of a movie by grinding up a DVD into a fine powder. No matter how small the pieces are, the story isn't there. This is why materialists are stuck. They're trying to build something out of nothing. They're trying to take dead matter and somehow bake it in a cosmic oven until it magically starts feeling things. Panpsychism offers a different way out. It flips the script. Instead of saying that dead matter eventually creates consciousness, it says that consciousness is a fundamental property of matter itself. Just like an atom has mass or an electron has an electrical charge, Panpsychism suggests that every particle has a tiny, microscopic smidgen of awareness. An atom doesn't think about its taxes, it doesn't have a personality, it doesn't have a name, but it has a point of view, a tiny elementary spark of being. When these atoms come together to form a rock, they aren't just forming a shape, they're forming a collective of simple awareness. The rock doesn't think, I am a rock, it doesn't have an ego, it just is. It experiences the heat of the sun and the slow, crushing pressure of the earth as a deep, billion-year-long dream. You might be wondering, if everything is conscious, why do I even need a brain? Why can I think and plan and feel complex emotions while a rock just sits there? Think of the brain not as a generator of consciousness, but as a receiver. Imagine the universe is filled with a constant, invisible radio signal of awareness. It's everywhere, all the time, vibrating through every inch of space. A rock is like a simple piece of wire. It's made of matter, so it catches a tiny bit of the signal, but it can't do anything with it. A blade of grass is a bit more complex, like a basic transistor radio. It can catch a little more of the signal, enough to know where the sun is and which way to grow. But a human brain? A human brain is a high-definition, surround sound supercomputer receiver. It takes that raw universal awareness and focuses it into a sharp, ego-driven experience. We aren't creating the light. We're just a lens that focuses it into a beam. If the universe is awake, how does that change the way we treat it? If a forest isn't just a collection of wood and calories, but a massive, slow-moving web of awareness, can we still call it a resource? If the ocean is a vast, liquid mind, what does it feel when we change its chemistry? It sounds like science fiction, but this idea has roots in the oldest philosophies on Earth and is being revisited by modern physicists like Roger Penrose. They suspect that consciousness might be tied to the very structure of space-time. We spent centuries feeling lonely, thinking that we're the only living things in a graveyard of stars. But panpsychism suggests we've never been alone. We're surrounded by a silent, vibrating audience. We're part of a world that's looking back at us. Think about the atoms in your own body. The iron in your blood and the calcium in your teeth were forged inside the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. When those stars exploded, they scattered their guts across the cosmos. Those atoms eventually gathered together to become you. You're literally made of star stuff. If those atoms had a tiny spark of awareness when they were inside the star, and they have that same spark now that they're inside you, then you're just the universe finally waking up and looking in a mirror. You're the part of the universe that can talk. The rock is the part of the universe that can listen. We often talk about people being in a coma or being unconscious, but maybe the only thing that's unconscious is our understanding of the world. We look at a mountain and see a pile of dirt. A panpsychist looks at a mountain and sees a giant who has been watching the clouds for 10 million years. Neither of you is wrong about the physical facts, but only one of you is living in a world that is alive. So the next time you're walking outside, take a moment to look around. Don't see the trees and the stones and the water as objects. See them as different speeds of the same thing. You're the fast, frantic, thinking part of the cosmic mind. The rock is the slow, deep, sleeping part. You're all just different waves in the same ocean, and the ocean has been awake the whole time. The person who started listening to this is already gone. Your cells have changed, your thoughts have shifted. A new version of you is finishing it. But the awareness behind your eyes, that hasn't changed. That is the same awareness that sits in the heart of a star and the center of a stone. If you're still here, thanks for listening. And if there's a rock nearby, maybe give it a gentle pat. It's been a long journey from the heart of a supernova to your front yard. It's a long dream we're all having together. Try to make it a good one. Are you awake yet? Because the universe certainly is. It's just waiting for you to notice.